In today's episode of Evernote Learning the Basics, we are going to learn all about notebooks. Coming up next. In this episode, we're going to be talking mainly about notebooks and how best to utilize notebooks for your organization. Now, notebooks in Evernote are generally used to store notes that you take, that you use Evernote for. After all, that's what Evernote's basically for, is note-taking. And with this note-taking app, you can organize your notes inside notebooks and have several notebooks. Let's say, for instance, you want to take notes on an upcoming seminar. Well, maybe you have that, seminar in Florida. And so you have all your notes related to that, everything that you want to talk about in that seminar in that one notebook. So it organizes all your notes about a subject or a project or what have you into one area. So you can find it easier and so that you're not hunting and pecking through all your different notes. Because who knows, you might have notes on different subjects, different projects. So this is a very easy way to organize all your notes. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't use notebooks that often anymore. Because I have so many notes, as you can see, I have like 9,000 notes, and it was getting cumbersome having many notebooks to keep track of everything, that I created a tagging system, which we will go over in another episode later on. But I do use a tagging system in order to try to locate my notes. But basically, the tagging system I created is kind of like a notebook. It's just that I can have more tags and I can structure them in a way where they're nested, and I can have a lot more of them than I can, say, notebooks, because you are limited with notebooks within Evernote. But with that said, we are going to be talking a little bit about notebooks. And if you notice here in Evernote here, you see that I do have some notebooks in here. Evernote, you have to have a place that your notes are defaulting to. And what I mean by that is you need to have what is called an inbox. Everything that you do when you set up a note within Evernote, whether that is you're creating a note in Evernote, you are having a note emailed to you within Evernote, which we'll go over in a later episode, whether or not you're scanning a note into Evernote, everything that you do needs to go into what is called an inbox so that you can process this later into the correct notebook or correct tag that you want. This will help you in your organization, because you just don't want to just be dumping stuff all in everywhere in all kinds of different notebooks and never knowing where anything's at. You want a centralized area where all of your notes go into, so that you can, at the end of the day or whenever it's convenient for you, go through these notes that you created, these new notes, and disperse them in the correct organizational pattern that you created, whether that be with notebooks or tagging system. Now, once these notes have been created and are in the inbox, and as you see, I have an inbox here, and I have a little tilde right here in front of the inbox, and that's just to help it, and especially in Mac, just be at the top of the notebook stack here. Okay. Now, also I have a filing cabinet notebook. I also have a sketch notebook, which we'll talk about later. Sketch is a annotation type of screen capturing program that works alongside Evernote, and anything you do with screen capturing, as far as let's say you want to capture this screen and just a still shot of it, you can utilize Sketch to do that, and it'll sync to Evernote and it'll drop it into the Sketch folder. Now you can also have it just drop it into inbox if you want, but I just had it separated there just so I know my sketch ones, and then I go ahead and parse them out to the correct notebook or tagging system. Now, also I created some projects here to keep track of some basic projects that I'm working on, but typically, to be honest with you, I don't utilize notebooks any farther than just these three right here: inbox, filing cabinet, and sketch. So basically, I only typically on a everyday basis use the inbox, and after I get done tagging my items at the end of the day, I'll drag them over into the filing cabinet. Okay, but let's go back to actually creating notes now. Notes within notebooks. Now, of course, you have your notebook here, and if you click on that, you'll come up to this area here. Now, in the PC world, I'm not sure. I think it does basically the same thing, but I don't have a PC, so I'm not really 100% sure. But basically, this is your list here, and you can create a new notebook right here by just clicking on this. And when you do that, it's going to come up with this. Now, here's where you can name your notebook. And let's say we want to name the notebook, I don't know, utilities, if I can spell. Now, let's say we want to keep all of our utility bills in this notebook, okay? So we've done this. Now, we have a choice when we create a utility notebook here. You have a choice. You can create this notebook as private or shared. And what private means is that it's private to you. Only you're going to be able to see this notebook, whether that be on your Mac computer or your PC computer or your iOS device or what have you. Only you're going to be able to see it. Nobody else is going to be able to see it unless they have access to your computer or iOS device. Now, you can also set up as a shared notebook where you're wanting to share it with other people. Let's say you're collaborating on a project with some other people, and you want to share this notebook. You want to share all your ideas back and forth between your other partners, then you can do so as well. But in this instance, we're just going to set this up as a private one. And by the way, just so you know, as you see here, as it pops up, you can always share this later. So let's say you set it up a private, and then you say, hey, this guy is going to help me with this project. Let me share this with him. Then you can share it at a later time. Okay, so once you do that, all you do is hit create, and it creates you a notebook. Now, if you notice here, it's right here in this list here. Now, if you also notice that in my projects here, which is also notebooks, you see how I have this little down arrow here. It also has notes under that. This is called a stack. I put all of these that have to do with this YouTube video series that I'm doing, I put all of them under there, so therefore they're not, if I had a long list of notebooks, these might get lost in that whole long list of notebooks, so I just put them in and kind of put them into a sub-project folder or notebook. So that's what that's about. And if you wanted to do that, let's talk about how you can go ahead and get that in there. Well, let's say, for instance, you have a notebook called electric bills. And you have one called water/sewer bills. And then you have one called gas bill. So you have all these bills, right? And so you want to keep them all under utilities. Well, you just sit there and you just drag it here. And now you got utility stack, right? And then you can go ahead and drag that to there. And go ahead and drag this to there. So there you go. That's how you drag and get all of these into one little stack. Now, of course, you could always delete this one out if you wanted to by right-clicking on it. So now all you have is these three in there. And you can rename these. Let's say you don't want to call it utility stack. You just want to call it utility bills, maybe. And there you go. Of course, obviously, I need to learn how to spell, right? Yeah, I know. So there you go. And so there you have it. And as you see, it says 3 notebooks in this stack, and that's what you have here, 3 notebooks. Beside each one of these notebooks, you have how many notes are in it, or how many stacks, or how many notebooks are in this stack right here. Okay, so that's how you create notebooks and notebook stacks. Also, just so you know, as you see here, when I click on this, I can right-click on any of these notebooks in here and come up with a context menu of things I can do. I can either remove it from a stack, add it to the shortcuts, which is over here, which I will go over in a later episode. You can also set it as a default notebook. Remember this inbox over here? That's my default notebook. You can also delete the notebook, rename the notebook, publish a notebook, or share the notebook. And we'll go over these options at a later time. You remember earlier I was talking about how you can share? Well, here's your sharing. You have the share icon there as well as the publish as well. So this is basically notebooks in a nutshell. In later episodes, we'll be going over notebooks in more detail and more advanced stuff with notebooks, dealing with notes within notebooks and different things you can do. But this should give you a general idea of what you can do with notebooks and your organizational pattern. And we'll go over some more GTD kind of ideas about notebooks and how you can set that up if you want to set up a GTD system. We'll go over that as well as tagging later on and the pros and cons between tagging and notebooks. Now, if you have any questions or you're just kind of curious about something, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down in the comment boxes below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button. Also, if you are interested in any more of these videos, these tutorials on Evernote or any of my other series, please don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel. And so, without further ado, I wish you a great day and be more productive. Thank you.